The Arizona Cardinals prepare for Week 16 versus the Carolina Panthers. This morning, we got some absolute huge news that could potentially derail the Arizona Cardinals going 2-0 after the 0-3 start after the bye week. Go and dive right into everything that you need to know about the Arizona Cardinals heading into Week 16 versus the Panthers. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. All right, everybody, let's go get started here. Let's go ahead and talk about the big bombshell news that we ended up getting earlier this morning about our Arizona Cardinals heading into Week 16 versus the Carolina Panthers. Now, originally, when I first started to look at the injury report for the Cardinals on Wednesday, I noticed that there was a lot of people on the injury report, and that's going to be for the Carolina Panthers as well as the Arizona Cardinals. Now, let's focus on the Panthers here real quick, and then we're going to get to the much terrible news for the Cardinals here in a little bit. But on Wednesday, I noticed that there was a lot of big players on their injury report, like Jadeveon Clowney, J.C. Horn, Adam Thielen, Chuba Hubbard as well. So when you're really looking at the injury report, obviously you got to take a look at what the injury is, right? You see things like on there, like, illnesses or just the rest day, right? Obviously, the rest days are nothing. That's just, they need a day off and most likely will be coming back here on Thursday or Friday. But what you really want to look for is trends, right? You want to see exactly what the injury is. Is it a knee? Is it an ankle? Is it a calf? Is it a shoulder, a bicep, right? Any of those things, you're going to have to kind of keep behind your head, right? And if it continues here on Thursday, and then into Friday, then in Friday, you start panicking about potentially you might not see these guys suit up on Sunday, play that game, right? So right now, if you look at the Carolina Panthers, they don't really have anybody that is consistently, a did not practice other than one person, and that's going to be Xavier Legette, right? That's really the only one that's out there that's, Carolina Panthers fans should potentially be worried, but I think when it comes down to it, Jadeveon Clowney most likely will go. Chuba Hubbard most likely will go. Actually, he is going to go. He was actually just on a rest day, so he's definitely going to go. And then you got J.C. Horn as well, which he had a groin issue, but he was I think it was limited practice on Thursday, so most likely he's trending in the right direction, right? Now, let's take a look at the Arizona Cardinals here. Now, like I said before, I noticed that there was a lot of people on Wednesday on a did not practice, right? One of the big ones out there, Mack Wilson Sr., Jesse Luketa, Paris Johnson Jr. is a new one because he ended up finishing that last game in Week 15 and then showed up in the injury report with the knee injury. And then you got Trey Benson on the other hand as well. Now, he also did leave the game. I believe it was in the third quarter, but for sure it was the second half. Trey Benson ended up getting hurt. So all these guys were listed as a did not practice for the Arizona Cardinals on Wednesday. Thursday came around, same darn thing. They're listed as a did not practice. Now, on Thursday, Kazir White ended up showing up on that did not practice list as well. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's see what could potentially be there, right? Watched it. It seems like it's an illness. So hopefully trending in the right direction. Hopefully he's going to be playing, fingers crossed. You're going to see Darius Robinson on this injury report probably the rest of the year. That's just going to be the way they're going to treat him. They're going to be very, very careful with the way that Darius Robinson and his calf, especially because it got re-aggravated that last time. So just expect Darius Robinson to always be a limited participant in practice, probably from here on out. But we did get word and a report coming out here from Darren Urban of the Arizona Cardinals, a bombshell. This is what I was talking about earlier, that we got 4 players already ruled out versus the Carolina Panthers. One of them being Trey Benson, which is very, very unfortunate. I'm actually very curious to figure out how the Cardinals are going to be able to maneuver, a war without Trey Benson. Maybe DJ Dallas. And because Trey Benson is not going to be there, you're probably also going to have to look at the practice squad, right? The guys that we have on the practice squad to potentially elevate to get 3 running backs coming our way, because you also got to remember, Amari DeMarcado is already placed on IR and most likely will not be coming back for the remaining of the year because of obviously the IR rules. So now that Trey Benson is ruled out, it leaves you with James Conner, DJ Dallas, and then maybe Michael Carter gets elevated. Maybe, I'm not sure if Tony Jones Jr. is with the Cardinals right now, but we got some people that Cardinals could potentially elevate, right? So keep in mind that you might hear some news here and there, but Trey Benson has been ruled out. The second player we need to talk about, Mack Wilson Sr. Now, he did leave week 15 with a concussion, I believe. Yeah, it was a concussion. It almost kind of seemed like he was trending in the right direction to play, but I kept seeing his name on the injury report, and then we ended up hearing that he was ruled out as well, which is unfortunate because one thing I would say about Mack Wilson Sr. is that he's the best free agent acquisition in the 2024 offseason for the Cardinals, right? An absolute huge piece for the Cardinals. Really love what I've seen with him. I like the duo between Kazir White and Mack Wilson Sr., but he's ruled out, unfortunately. Jesse Luketa, an outside linebacker for the Cardinals, ruled out as well. Now, let's talk real quick about Mack Wilson Sr., who's going to be able to step into the role for him. The only kind of people we have on the depth chart behind Mack Wilson Sr. is Jesse Luketa, which we just talked about. He's already been ruled out. And then you got Owen Papu, right? I believe they call him OP. And then you got Kryze Barnes. You're probably going to see Kryze Barnes step up to the plate for the absence of Mack Wilson Sr. He made a play, actually, this last game, especially in that fourth down stop, which could potentially turn the game around here for the Patriots, but made a really good play for the Cardinals. So he most likely would be able to be stepping up for Mack Wilson Sr. and then maybe a rotation of him and Owen Papu, right? So unless they also elevate somebody else from the practice squad, we'll have to kind of wait and see how that shakes out. But here's the biggest news of them all, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the kicker. The Arizona Cardinals also ruled out their left tackle in Paris Johnson Jr. Yes, you heard that right. Paris Johnson Jr. has been ruled out. He was a guy that I didn't suspect was going to be hurt this coming week because I believe, if I can remember correctly, he played that entire game. But being the fact right now that he's got a knee injury, the Cardinals are going to hold him out at least for 1 week, as what we're hearing. At least for 1 week is what we're hearing, which is very unfortunate news because, man, this has been a guy that's been an Ironman for the Cardinals for, since we've drafted him last year. He's going to be missing a game. Now, when you look about this in hindsight, right, I get the sense of it all where you're like, okay, well, if this is going to happen, we rather this happen against the Panthers, right? And it's kind of true. I don't want to be, disrespectful to the Panthers, but if there is a team for this to happen to, allow Paris Johnson Jr. to heal up, get better. Same thing goes with Mack Wilson Sr., Jesse Luketa, Trey Benson, right? If you're going to get one game that I'm not going to say is a, let them rest week, but this is probably one of those best games you could potentially have that happen to, right? Now, what happens with Paris Johnson Jr.'s role, right? If you look at the depth chart right now, the Cardinals don't really have a lot of depth when it comes down to that left tackle position. The only guys that really kind of stick out to me right now is going to be Christian Jones, which is a rookie this year that we ended up drafting in the 5th round, I believe out of Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And then you got Kelvin Beachum as well, which played right tackle for the Cardinals for a bit now, right? Or at least that swing guy, especially when Jonah Williams went down. Kelvin Beachum was the guy that kind of stepped up to the plate, and he did really well when given the opportunity. So maybe he gets slided into the left tackle for the Cardinals. So very unfortunate to not see Paris Johnson Jr., Mack Wilson Sr., Jesse Luketa, as well as Trey Benson. But this is going to be one of those things that I still do feel like the Cardinals can win this game, especially if, obviously, there's no killing penalties coming our way, our offense gets clicking and gets going, or our defense forces a turnover or two and potentially 3 or 4 sacks on Bryce Young, right? I still do think that this game is going to be can be winnable for the 2024 Arizona Cardinals. We're just going to have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. Hopefully Kyler Murray can stay upright, especially not having his anchor out there in Paris Johnson Jr. that's protecting his blind side. But ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this whole situation? This big bombshell of news that just kind of dropped on us earlier this morning. Know in the comments below. I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cardinals.